Hi, welcome to Discussion Board Week 5, Women of the American Revolution. Today we'll be discussing Abigail Adams. Abigail Adams is most noted for being the wife of President John Adams and mother to John Quincy Adams, who became the 6th President of the United States. Abigail Adams, however, was much more than just a mother and a wife. She was the most trusted confidant of John Adams during the American Revolution and his presidency. She is one of the earliest women's equality activists. She petitioned for girls to be able to go to public school because during this time most girls were educated at home through reading and writing and basic mathematics. She spent a lot of time trying to gain support for independence during the American Revolution. She also fought for emancipation of African American slaves during this time. And she was the symbol of the Federalist Party during her husband's presidency. This discussion gives a brief look into the amazing life of Abigail Adams with her life before her husband's presidency, as well as being the second lady under George Washington and the second first lady underneath her husband. Born to a prominent family in Weymouth, Massachusetts on November the 11th, 1744, Abigail grew up in a Congregational church community. Although she was later known for advocating for education for girls, she herself had no formal education. She was taught to read and write at home and given access to extensive libraries of her father and maternal grandfather. Reading created a bond between her and young John Adams, and they were married in 1764. The couple moved to Adams Farm in Braintree, south of Boston, and had 3 sons and 2 daughters. In 1775, along with Mercy Warren and the governor's wife, Hannah Winthrop, Abigail was appointed by the Massachusetts Colony General Court to question other women who were charged by either their word or action of remaining loyal to the British Crown and working against the independence movement. In 1776, as her husband participated in the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia, Adams wrote her most famous letter. She said, "I long to hear that you have declared an independency, and by way in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies, and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion, and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation." Though not exactly the feminist some historians have depicted her to be, Adams was concerned with greater protection for women under the new laws as well as access to formal education. When John Adams was elected president in 1797, his outspoken First Lady defended her husband's positions, including his advocacy of the controversial Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798. In 1800, the Adams became the first family to occupy the White House after the capital moved from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. Long separations kept Abigail from her husband while he served the country they loved. Letters that detailed her life and times in the Revolution tell a story of the woman who stayed at home to struggle with wartime shortages and inflation. John and Abigail exchanged over 1,100 letters. They serve as eyewitness account of the American Revolutionary War on the home front. These letters, published in 1848 by her grandson, Charles Francis Adams, are now part of the Adams Family Papers of the Massachusetts Historical Society. The Adams retired to their home in Peacefield in Quincy in 1801 after the loss of re-election to Thomas Jefferson. For the next 17 years, they enjoyed the companionship that public life had long been denied them. Abigail died in 1818 and buried beside her husband in the United First Parish Church. She leaves her country at a most remarkable record as a patriot and First Lady, wife of one president and mother to another. Though she believed her main role in life would be wife and mother, Abigail Adams also was a behind-the-scenes stateswoman. She used her talents to maintain her family during the many absences of her husband and to advise her husband about women's rights and slavery. Her detailed letters provide a historical record of the times and show her to have been a woman ahead of her time. Abigail Adams is represented by 2 statues in Massachusetts, one in Boston at the Boston Women's Memorial and the other in Quincy, that portrays her and a young John Quincy Adams.